Welcome to MSP 1337. I'm your host, Chris Johnson, a show dedicated to cybersecurity challenges, solutions, a journey together, not alone. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of MSP 1337. I'm joined this week by Charles Love of ShowTech Solutions. Surprise. Charles, welcome to the show.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hey, reached out to you. Obviously, you were recently on sabbatical. I think that's what we call vacation that goes more than a week at a time.
Yes.
And while you were out, your team sort of wrapped up some things to get you through to Trustmark assured status. And I thought it would be a good, I've done some of this before. I know GTIA has done some interviews with different MSPs talking through the whys and the why nots on the program, why they joined, etc. And I thought you and I have known each other a long time, so I can get maybe the not sugar-coated or the absence of, well, you know, like your version of this. Like, you didn't do the Trustmark because of me, but there were conversations that you and I have had that date back prior to me even working at GTIA, so 3+ years of things to do to improve your security posture. And I was just curious, like, you know, maybe give a little bit of the background of why and why the Trustmark, so we can share with the audience of why perhaps they should be doing it as well.
Well, let's go back. I don't know. It feels like 20 years, right? But I know it's not 20, but it could be. I don't know anymore. I used to hold the MSP Trustmark from the old system, and when we got that one, I was pretty proud. It was at the time it was the old CompTIA Trustmark, same heart, just different name. You know what I mean? And what that did is that told prospective customers that we followed certain, rules and regulations and things like that. And at the time where everybody was changing their business from being a MSP, or excuse me, break fix value-added reseller, to be this newfangled MSP way back in the day, that was a nice differentiator, right? You
had to prove something.
Yeah, everybody had an RMM, right? And there was like 3 available at the time. WebRoot at the time was like the product to have, right?
Right.
Like this is a little bit ago. EDRs didn't exist back then. All this is just crazy how much we've come in a short amount of time. But we were very proud, and we had that logo on everything. Shirts.
So many of you still do.
Yeah, and it was a really good differentiator. The customer's like, "Hey, tell me about that Trustmark," and we were able to explain the shield and all those things.
Yeah.
So that was great. And then fast.
Well, let's share it. Let's share it a little bit. So that was really about showing operational maturity across, I think it was 5 domains. Help me here: operations, service delivery, financial management, human resources, and risk management.
Sounds good to me. I do not remember, to be honest. It's been a little bit, but that sounds.
It's okay. So it's gone now. It's sunset.
It's sunset.
At any rate, but I wanted to kind of highlight what I can remember in that. It wasn't just a random set of standards that we thought we should hold an MSP to, or a company that wants to be an MSP, or whatever we want to call it. It was more a way to say you're operating in a way that is, not only is it recognizable by mapping to an organization that says, hey, we can validate that they are doing this thing that's called managed services, but those that don't have it, there's a good chance that there are pieces or holes in their armor with the way in which they're approaching delivering services, because they haven't gone through any sort of rigor or third-party validation to verify that they really are doing the things that they say they're doing.
Correct. And I feel like it took a couple of weeks to get. and back then it was just filling out forms, right? There really wasn't an auditor. You guys, the CompTIA team would review the data, and there was a group of people who would look at it, and it was, I don't want to say it was easy, but it's nowhere near the level of what we went through with the Trustmark, right? The cybersecurity Trustmark. But that also shows how the world has changed, right?
Right.
Before it was a lot of procedural things. How do you quote people? How do you show your pricing? How do you do customer reviews? Stuff like that. And
well, so then not to make fun of the GTI Cybersecurity Trustmark, but more than a third of going through that could largely be tied back to the managed services Trustmark you got, which was largely governance, like acceptable use policy, financial,
yes.
HR.
But back then we were more focused on, let's make sure that if we say we're an MSP, let's make sure we actually are an MSP, right? Where now,
right,
we've all grown up a bit. We're a little more grayer, right? We have far more.
You and I literally are more gray and have less hair. I saw pictures of us from, like you said, an eternity ago, and neither one of us had any gray hair.
Yeah, but nowadays it's how do we handle a cyber breach? How do we handle incident response? How do we handle like third-party risk? Those three things I just mentioned, 2025 Charles, it would never have dreamed of those three statements. Right. It's just, so now it's all about, hey, I've always said, eat your own dog food, drink, Josh would always say drink your own champagne because he hated when I said the dog food. But
doesn't mean we should drink the champagne though either. So let's just be clear.
Fair. But now it's all right, cool. So all of us MSPs have grown up. We're all dealing in cyber whatever. And what differentiates us today to the guy down the road who literally runs the same stack? Maybe not, right? And the Trustmark kind of filled that void. Because as you said, here's a third party, and oh, by the way, this is not a 3 or 4 week process, right? This
don't tell anybody how long it takes because they won't do it then.
No, I'm not. But it's a multi-level. All levels of the company have to get involved. Everyone from all the way at the top CEO level, all the way down to the admin assistants, because cybersecurity basically affects us all, right?
Yeah.
Where it's everything. It's guests coming into the building, right? Like I never would have thought in my 10-person company that I should have a visitor log, right?
Right.
To like I've gone to customers and I filled out the little thing, which, it's fine. But now I have a little thing. Well, I have a visitor log here at the office so that when people come in, they have to sign. And that's a part of one of the safeguards on Trustmark to know who has gained access into the building. So we started down this path because, I wanted to make sure that the ShowTech team and our employees were doing things the right way. And prior to Trustmark, it's basically whatever Charles said is what we're going to do. But,
well, not for nothing. You used to do that to me too.
Yeah, but it's don't tell my wife this, but I do say incorrect things from time to time.
No, you say things that aren't necessarily right, but they're definitely not wrong.
Yes, but it's Charles had validated ShowTech prior to this, and and it needed more, right? Like I know my ecosystem. I've had 25 years in the MSP, VAR, IT, whatever landscape, but it's much more than that now. It's how do we protect our people and how do we protect our clients and their people? Just little things that you don't really think about, like splitting off the guest network. Like if you're working on a customer's PC, having it on an isolated network, like little things like that.
Yeah.
That when you go, oh, why aren't we doing that? That makes total sense. And it's just because I don't want to say nobody made us do it, but nobody made us do it. Right? 3 years ago, I really wouldn't.
You can't park there.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, I really wouldn't have thought of, hey, if an employee's kid is coming into the office, here's the Wi-Fi. Just go nuts. Nowadays, it's like, well, we got to make sure
you're downloading from what torrent site?
Yeah, we got to make sure the DNS is protected. We got to make sure it's on the isolated network. You want to print? Sorry, you can't, because the printer's on the corporate network. So now I got to worry about a guest
email
printer.
it to your dad.
Yeah. It's just there's all these extra things, and you go, well, yeah, you don't know what that laptop has, right? You don't know what it could do, and in the world of crypto, everything, we want to make sure that we're safe. And these are little things that, after we started going through Trustmark, we're like, holy smokes, why aren't we doing this? The most benign thing, like it just takes one person to do one dumb thing,
right?
And you ruin your day. And for us, the Trustmark is really what has helped us try. It's not going to stop it. Nothing's going to stop it unless I don't have computers.
Well, right.
Yeah, just bring visibility to it. And now the cool thing is I've had 2 calls today. So we announced yesterday, like late last night, that because you sent me the email, that we received our Trustmark status, our assured status. And I had somebody call up and go, hey, what's that mean? And I go, well, let me tell you, right? It means we've been validated. It means all the hard work that the guys have been working on for these last couple of weeks, months, whatever, means something. It means we're more secure, our customers are more secure, and we're doing things with the lens of security on.
Yeah. No more rose-colored glasses, right?
No, and it's so funny because the guy who runs our cybersecurity program here,
he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, I get a call. Like, if I'm setting up Zoho or something for the marketing team, I have to ask him, hey, can I know I'm the boss, but can I have Zoho access? So now I have to explain to this guy why I need Zoho access. And it's just funny, right? Because we pay for it.
Oh, no, you're it's not, it's funny. So, and overseeing this program, I got asked by my internal IT the other day. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close that ticket. I need you to create a system intake form. And I'm like, system intake form? I'm like, what does that entail? He's like, well, this is gonna get put in front of legal. We need to look at the T's and C's and what are we committing to? He goes, even if it's free, like where does the data go and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I just need this tool to do this one thing. Yeah. It's very, it can be very frustrating, but at the same time, to your point, like you're identifying, like, the reason that we're doing this isn't because we want to make things inconvenient, but like what if your security guy would have said, Charles, we already have this thing, it's just like what Zoho is, marketing team reached out last week. And you're like, what? Heaven forbid you have 2 tools that do the same thing.
Yeah,
for no reason.
It stops the Wild West, right? It stops what they used to call shadow IT. It may still be called that, but
it's still called that. It's still the Wild West, still shadow IT. Yeah.
Well, but even like, if the guys want to like dork around with some stuff, now they got to think about it. There's a really good story that our buddy Mike tells time and time again, and he does it better. But one of his techs wanted to download, for whatever reason, for a church or something like that, a YouTube video. And so he came across one of these. This is a couple years ago. This is before Trustmark.
Okay.
But it was called like YouTube Ripper, right?
Sure.
You put a URL, and what it would do is it would download the video to your OneDrive.
Yeah, a physical copy to local.
Yeah, which there's Now we've come to learn that that's actually very not good. But back then, like, that's what you did, right? You just, even YouTube allows you to download.
You didn't know if you because you didn't know if you're going to have bandwidth that would work at the time that you needed it. You're like, oh, we just stopped after 8 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah. So this one guy, it was a customer or something like that, goes, "Oh my God, this thing can save right to my OneDrive. How awesome is that?" So now I could YouTube rip, hit the button, save to my OneDrive, and it comes up. It goes, "Hey, do you want to give access to OneDrive?" And there's a little link that says, "Here's all the permissions." And I go, "Sure." Boom.
Sure.
And then they don't think twice of it. And now when this guy pulls his church music, it saves to his OneDrive. Well, once Mike started going through Trustmark, now all of a sudden, oh, you want access? I think we need to. So like he did what we did. He turned off the ability for auto consent for 365 SSO. So now these requests come in, and funny enough, that request came in again, and it said, admin consent, the YouTube Ripper is asking for, and when you read it, right, full permission to all of your SharePoint data, OneDrive data, and anything that has access to. And you're like, holy smokes, no way, right? But Trustmark makes
just read only. No.
Yeah, but Trustmark stops and makes you think, all right, so now I got to read, right? Because before we were just hitting okay, right? As is the rest of the world. And now, because it's funny, now we have these third-party risk forms that we have to give to Chase, right?
Yeah.
So
is that
now,
your security guy?
Yes. Yeah, he's our Trustmark guy. So if I want to install YouTube Ripper, I now have to fill out a form so that Chase will consider approving something for his boss, which is exactly what I want him to do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it. I'm probably not gonna read anything, right? Just being totally honest. And then Chase, what he's going to do is he's gonna look at it and go, no.
Nope.
So he's called me. The guy on my team who reports to him like 2 levels below me has called me and said, yeah, we can't do that. Like, what are you talking about?
Take it a little bit further. So think about the roles of your engineers and think about the tools that you use every day, and thinking about how unfettered access to those resources can be as big or a much bigger problem. You and I have talked about this before, like, hey, I need CCleaner, or I need Malwarebytes, or I need fill in the blank. I go and run it on a client environment, or I go run it on my own machine, and then I move on to something else. But I didn't get permission for it. It's not part of our approved software list. It's not in the inventory.
Yep.
That means lots of things like it's not being patched. It may come with all kinds of potential bad things. And we remember, I think it was back in like 2018, CCleaner got a man-in-the-middle attack, so that if you had it set to auto-update, it was going and grabbing the update, but the update it was grabbing was malicious.
Yeah.
On a legitimate application. But in the case that I was working on way back when, they didn't have it as an authorized application. In fact, it was not an authorized app. And they told us blatantly, like, we do not use that app. It's not on our systems. We logged it on 75 workstations.
Yep.
Had their domain been one of the 20 domains that the target was looking for, they would have been fully compromised, everything going. So,
and I'll give you one more little thing, and this is the lens of Trustmark, right? So now, we all get these insurance questionnaires from customers, and who has access to your third-party systems, right? Customer, ShowTech, period. Move on with life.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden we're like, well, hell, I don't know. Like, I have to look, because go back to that YouTube Ripper, right? If you have granted consent to your OneDrive and respectively any SharePoint site you have access to, well, then technically on the cyber insurance form, you have to cite YouTube Ripper as a third-party source. So that when the insurance company goes, what in the heck are you doing? No, right? And nowadays, this is why I'm saying the lens of cybersecurity, and I'm not saying we were like willy-nilly doing whatever we wanted before this. I'm just saying it's opened our eyes a little bit more, I guess a lot more, to not always just say yes, right? Sometimes it's a, well, there's a consideration. It's not a no, but it's a, we should really discuss this.
So I'll give you one too. So I won't even say who the vendor is, but they make a physical product that works in the realm of AI for transcription. It's a super cool product. They recently recognized inside their website a third-party plugin that you could take advantage of that would allow you to, when you're having meetings, it would grab the calendar name of the meeting, so you could see that when it was, recording your transcription, it would have the right name, right? All those things are super cool. And we were going down the path of like, yeah, we should definitely like approve it. So you click on the link, takes you to the Microsoft little window like you were describing. And two things popped up at us when we were looking at it. One, it is built by a company that is not US based. The place that it is based in would probably be a reason to say hard no, just because of the country that it came from. That's it. Like,
yep,
that's it, and that's all. The second part was, to your point, it has visibility to everything. It says right in there that it's read only, so let's assume it's read only. The reality is, I only wanted it for my calendar. It has read only to SharePoint, OneDrive. Like, I don't know about you, but like I think in the world of social engineering, if I can throw something into your environment that allows me to read everything that's in there,
yeah,
I don't necessarily need privileged access. I just need information.
Yep.
So, I mean, these are challenges that we all face, and I think the consumerism side is that whole like, it's convenient, it solves problems for me, it's efficient, it changes the pace at which I work, it looks cool, it's shiny, and the reality is I haven't considered the need factor. As Wayne always says, he goes, is it a need, want, or nice to have? And when you use those stepping stones and the lead is I want it or it'd be nice to have, it should automatically be a no, regardless of what it is. Like, why? And we don't do that. We don't even do that today for the most part. And what you're describing is looking at it through a lens, not of scrutiny, but a lens of just says, hey, just validate against these things that are not complicated to go through and check off.
Yeah. And, our journey, it's not like we were a hot mess, right? Like,
no,
we met most of the controls. We may not have had it.
I have your poem right here, by the way.
Yeah.
No mistake.
Yeah. We may not have documented how we've met those things, but
Sure.
in Charles's brain, we knew how to do it, right? So like we were doing desktop hardening and baselines before we even started this. We were doing PAM solutions, and like none of the people at ShowTech had any kind of like local admin access, even before all this. But what was kind of nice is this, as we went through it all, it validated that what we were doing was right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of cool. So now we have a really neat story to talk to a customer who goes, tell me about that Trustmark. Boy, let me tell you about our journey, right? And now we have just a natural conversation, which to me is awesome because it's the same customer question I got back in 2005. About
zero.
Yeah, tell me about the MSP, the Trustmark, right? So it's kind of cool. It's like everything that's old is new again,
Right.
It's we're now celebrating something that we know as a thin client, right? They're called cloud PCs, and like, yes, I did those in the 90s, so everything that was old is new again, but it's better, and I'm very, very thankful we did it.
And I'll just correct me if I'm wrong here. I would love to think that like you got those calls and asked to explain, so it's an opportunity. It's actually you basically have a marketing lead out there that's bringing people your way. But if I was to think about the things that it would do, if I was still doing this today, I would think about the things that would cause me to lose sleep at night. You're looking at this, I think, because it puts you in a position of meeting or exceeding what we call industry standards, security best practices. You're having that opportunity to evaluate against a baseline to say, do I want to toe the line? Do I want to do more than that? Should I do more than that? That was one. The second one is that I think as an organization, and MSPs that are going through the Trustmark, I think would align with this, is they're not looking at this for the most part as a one and done. They want to continuously improve the resilience of the business, because the reality is you're only as good as the resilience. Tomorrow it changes, right? And you have to continuously do things to rebuild that wall back up in order to stay safe. And then the last one would be, and I hate to say this, but like, to be trusted with sensitive data, right? Like to be trusted with sensitive system, to be trusted with critical infrastructure, and not necessarily critical in the sense that like this is the water system for the local municipality, but like that your clients trust you with what's critical to them.
Yep.
So you just got the Trustmark assured status. I'm sure your security guy is on sabbatical now for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Or is at least going to ask for it, and he'll be like, well, how does that work in us being resilient if you're not here? So I'm expecting a cot and you're moving in. But like, what's next? I mean, I think for MSPs that are out there listening, we have a lot of MSPs that are in the program that are in that 5 to 15, and in some cases smaller than 5. You're what, 11, 12 staff, somewhere in there? It's not very often that I've seen where there was a real assigning of staff to this program, in the context of, like, it could have been you, right? Like, it could have been like, Charles is going to take this on. I'm going to do the things because I have a team. Reality was you said, no, I need to assign this to someone that can take ownership of it. And as you work through the program, what I witnessed is that you realized that it was important to add others to the participation of this equation that I'm not seeing for a lot of the MSPs in this. Like, I'm the person, I'm going to do it, I'm going to get it done, and that's how it's going to be. And they're the ones that still don't have the Trustmark, that have been in this program for at least as long as you have. What would you tell them?
Yeah, we drove you and the team nuts, right? Because every few weeks it was, all right, this guy's taking it over. All right, this guy's taking it over, right? Because we needed different people with different skill sets to help us get through certain things. In the beginning, it was Charles is going to do it all. Charles is going to write all the things. He's going to enforce all the things. And like, I was like, oh, wait, I have a company to run. I can't do that. Right. So this is way more than I was expecting. And
what do I do again? Yeah.
Well, and it's ShowTech isn't necessarily a dictatorship. And like anything else, if I mandate here's what we're doing and I have no input from the team, it's not going to be well received. So
it's the fundamental why, the word why, because if I tell your guys to do something, if you tell them to do something and they don't understand why, it doesn't matter if you're a dictator. They will find a way to make sure that their job in their mind is doing it as efficiently and conveniently as it is for them, regardless of what you tell them, because that's what you hired them for. So if they don't buy into why, they don't care. They can't.
Yeah. So in the beginning of this whole thing, like we started working with our peer group through something called Secure Outcomes to do CIS. Mm-hmm. And in typical Charles fashion, I wrote all the policies. It was all pretty. And then you go, so how do you enforce this? And I'm like, I don't know. Right. Like that's a DAX chase problem.
Sure.
And then, so now the policies are written. So now DAX and Chase are involved, and they're like, well, we don't even have a tool to do this. And I'm like, cool, find one.
Right.
Right. Let's make it happen. Like
yeah.
I'm kind of like telling you what I want. I'm like the visionary, but you're the one who has to like figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. So I found for us, and I said, hey, like for vulnerability management, here's a couple of vendors. Look at them all. Give me pros and cons on all of them. And they buy into that because they picked it. more so than, hey, go work with this vendor and do their thing.
It's funny you say that. Early on in my role in the world of GRC prior to coming here, I was tasked with something similar in the healthcare space, and we were really excited about this vendor. I shouldn't say we were. The person I was working with, and this was not this was the client. They were super excited about this GRC platform that was going to change everything for their risk register. And we were brought in to help them gather all the evidence. We were given a spreadsheet. I'm like, we're going to put it all in the spreadsheet, and then we're going to upload it into the thing. Oh no, it was just a spreadsheet. The whole thing was just a spreadsheet. Like, for tens of thousands of dollars, we just had a spreadsheet. Like, it was static, and we couldn't really do a lot with it. And we learned right then and there that when you're tasked with tackling something of this magnitude and you don't have buy-in to the tools and resources that are going to make the solution or the outcome happen, it probably is not going to happen. It's probably not going to get implemented, or it's not going to get implemented at the level that you expected from your team because they don't believe in it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I have to believe in it. I have to understand the why. And then I think the last one is the one that you've been highlighting throughout, is that you have to give them the authority to go and execute without having them come to you every single time, something blinks or the tide goes out. Like, you need them to be able to make decisions where, because of what you've set in motion, is already aligning with what you expect from them, because you gave them the opportunity to say, hey, I don't agree, before it becomes enforceable.
Yeah, and the last part of the thing is, you had asked me, like, so what's next, right? A year ago, if a customer says, hey, can you help me through CIS? I would have said no, right? Or can you help me through compliance, right? Because like before, it was like, oh, just buy a platform, you're good. Now I know, that is not the case, right? You can't just buy a piece of software and check the box. There's things you have to do. There's locks on the closet you have to put on. So the management team here at ShowTech,
otherwise the monsters get out.
Exactly. We don't want that.
No.
But the exec team here meets every 2 weeks or so, and we're currently workshopping. All right, cool. So what does this look like? So how do we take what we have done for Trustmark and apply it to a package we can offer to a customer to help them through whatever thing? So this whole process has kind of been like a training wheel exercise and we're even talking about hiring a manager for that department, hiring staff for that department, and just having a compliance division to help grow our business.
Well, I like the training wheel statement, because you think about if you were riding a really, really big bike and you didn't know a lot about it other than you ride it, and when you get off, it stays right where you put it. And you take the training wheels off and you discover you can ride it just fine, and then you park it and you get off and it falls over.
Yep.
Like, that's what we were describing, right? Like, it's the opportunity to look at what it is that you have, because it's not just training wheels, right? Like, it's something of such massive undertaking when you think about where you're looking at your organization futuristically and going, I want to ride with training wheels for as long as I can, because by doing so, I have the opportunity to understand every day more about that bicycle or motorcycle or whatever it is. Because once you take the training wheels off, you can't put them back on.
Yeah. So,
well, Charles, that's perfect. Those of you listening, this has been an episode of MSP 1337. Thanks, and have a great week.